So I hope I rejoined. I hope PPT is visible once again. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So now I am telling some point you have to note down. So with respect to this slide, so I'll ask just note down. FEM is the dash technique. I may ask numerical technique or mathematical technique or simulation technique, etc. Just you write on statement. FEM is the dash technique. The correct answer is numerical technique. Other than numerical, I may give another 2 or 3 techniques. So you have to note down. Otherwise, you may not get idea exactly what exactly test will come. The test pattern will come. Pattern we know what type of objective type questions they may ask in the test. You have to note down FEA.
So when is the test, sir?
Test is on second. The detailed timetable will be put second or third. It starts from second. So
Okay.
test pattern is no, for it is not like your all students will write the test from 9:30 to 10:30. It is not like that. So even in the sixth semester, only 2 or 3 branches, around maximum 200 students will write the test or attend the test at a time. Not all around 1,500 students or 3,000 because of some other the systems and other issues. So it is not like this. Time will be announced. Don't worry about the time. It is not like all students of sixth semester, all branches will write that test at the same time. It is not like regular the physical
Branch
test.
wise, sir.
Huh?
Branch, separate branch
Sir,
will
can
write at separate
So
time.
everything will be announced. Timing, everything will be announced. The total
can you tell the
duration.
pattern, sir?
Huh?
Pattern, sir, pattern.
So pattern is 30 questions. So all each question multiple choice question. So each question having 4 answer. Out of that, your work is only choosing one answer out of 4 answer.
Okay.
In my FEM subject is considered, but other subject I don't know. But all are multiple choice questions only. But whether they may ask some small problems also. But FEM you cannot do those problems in minimum time. So 30 questions as per FEM subject is considered. There are 30 questions. Each question carries, so the question has 4 multiple answers. Out of that, you have to choose one answer, A, B, C, or so like that you have to choose.
Sir, duration of exam?
The duration it is around maximum between 30 minutes to 1 hour. So I'll tell because it changes from subject to subject. But first I have to set the question paper. Then afterwards I have to check how much time it takes. Based on that, I'll decide the time and I'll tell you. Because once I set the question paper only, I'll come to know how much time is required. So it is between the 30 minutes to maximum 1 hour. That's all. But exact time for FEA, I'll tell you later because first I have to set the question. Then I have to check how much time is required to analyze each questions. So that those things don't worry about that. I'll inform you in tomorrow class or day after tomorrow class or in WhatsApp also. In inform. Don't worry about that timings. But 30 pattern is fixed. 30 multiple choice question, and each question carries the 4 answer. Out of 4 answer, you have to choose one answer. That means you have to write just A, B, C, or D like that. You have to do.
Okay.
So now this just I am telling what type of question it comes. So FA is I'll put dash technique. So when I'll put A is numerical technique, B is mathematical technique, C is this simulation technique, D is analytical technique. Out of that, if you have to write, you have to type A. That's all, nothing else. Like that, you have to note down this point. FEM is the dash technique. But if you are remembering, it is okay. But better to write down. So for the practicing. So it may ask FEM is a computation and as well as numerical technique, or I put only the computation technique instead of saying numerical technique. FEM is used for solving boundary value problems or initial value problems or some other one or two to confuse you. I may ask. FEM is used for boundary value problems. You have to note down those points. I may share this PPT. I may share this PPT in Google Classroom. I may put this PPT in the PDF form. But still, you'd better to note down. Because individually I cannot clarify. In the classroom only I want to clarify the things. So I may ask, the FEM is used for analyzing of the building structure. FEM is used for following application, building structure, or analysis of the trusses, the analysis of some other soil, soil content. So in such cases, so your soil content is not part of FEM analysis. That such way question will be asked. So this is now you are talking about elements. So now FEM is here. There are two types of elements. So one is quadrilateral element. I think most of them are triangular element only. So because in your first module there are different types of element. Even second module also there are triangular element. So instead of saying it is a triangular element, it is referred as CST element. That is referred as constant strain triangle. Note down, constant strain triangle. So when you come to elements, I may ask the total number of DOF each in each node. It is better to note down. I will go a little bit slowly. Better to note down afterwards. Don't ask so many clarification by sending messages, etc. So when you come to elements, the major question is, so like if it is a triangular element, you note down for the triangular element, number of DOF per node of triangular element. How many DOF per node of triangular element? How many movement for the triangular element, node of triangular element? Someone can answer. So one is X movement. The one movement of imagine triangle made up of three nodes, node 1, node 2, as well as node 3. Node 3. So in such cases, what you have to do is, so that means each node of the triangular element has 2 degrees of freedom. So one along X direction, normally referred as U1, and one more along Y direction. So now each node is having 3 degrees of freedom. Now, so total degrees of freedom for the triangular element, I may ask like this. One is, I may ask how many degrees of freedom for each node. Each node is having 2 degrees of freedom, like similar to trusses also. Trusses, the X direction movement is given by Q1, Y direction movement is given by Q2. In the similar way, triangular element also, X direction movement is Q1, Y direction movement is Q2. Each node is having 2 degrees of freedom. So other than your the preparation of the point of test, it may helpful for facing some interview. Suppose you are going for some interview in especially the design side or analysis side. So then this type of question is helpful for those interviews also. So that means total number of degrees of freedom for the whole triangular element is equal to, there are 3 nodes into, so each node is having 2 degrees of freedom. That means 3 into 2, so finally we get the 6 degrees of freedom. There are 2 ways I may ask the question. So one question is the number of degrees of freedom for per each node. So each node is having 2 degrees of freedom. That is nothing but node can move along X direction. The same node can be moved along Y direction. It's similar to, we can keep the triangle, small triangle. We can move it in the horizontal direction. We can move it in the vertical direction. How much distance is moved in the horizontal direction is nothing but DOF along horizontal direction or X direction. It is referred as U1. How much distance is moved in the same triangular node, let it be bottommost node, so or corner, it is moved by in the vertical direction, by some amount. So that is the degrees of freedom of each node. But there are 3 nodes are there. So 3 nodes into 2, the finally total degrees of freedom for triangular element is the 6. Then there are boundary conditions. So their boundary condition is also there in the your second module as per your syllabus. Even though I am covering now, it's some non-zero boundary condition I am covering now. That is also included for your test. So boundary condition also I may ask, because whenever I find some keywords, so immediately I'll talk. So when you come to boundary conditions, So you are modifying the stiffness matrix. So you are modifying the the force vector also. In the case of penalty approach, you are modifying stiffness matrix. You are modifying the force vector. I may ask the questions. In the case of penalty approach, so stiffness matrix is modified. The force vector is modified. Then the displacement vector is modified. None of the above. Like that, I may ask, or I may give like that. So in such cases, you are right. The answer A, where stiffness matrix is only modified. So like that, I may ask the question. If you once you understand those things, answering the question is not difficult. Especially when it comes to boundary conditions, there are two boundary conditions. One is penalty approach. So one more is the elimination approach. After giving the introduction to first module and second module, so once again I'll revise those boundary condition. Especially it is required for not only for your understanding of getting good marks in the first test. It is required. Those boundary conditions are required for almost all the module. So there may be one more chance is they ask the boundary problems on boundary condition. So like, so if node 1 is fixed in the elimination approach, the first row and first column is cancelled, or last row or last column is cancelled, or no rows and columns are cancelled. I may put the question in this way, but you have to choose the right answer. I have given some example. Note down similar type of questions, not exactly same. Similar type of question may come for your test. So now when I come to bridges, so bridges is nothing but the beams. Because in the first module, you have to discuss about all types of element. So your beam will comes under 1D element in the first module. So beam also some basic degrees of freedom of beams also come into picture, because first module and second module, so you are discussing about all the elements. But you may derive stiffness matrix, you may solve some problems in some other module. But as per your syllabus is considered, in the first module, you have to discuss about all element. So when you come to the beam element, it is also comes under first module. There is a 1D element. Beam is comes under 1D element. I may ask the degrees of freedom for each node of the beam is 2, 1, 3, or 4. In such cases, you have to write 2, because 1 degrees of freedom along with x direction. So one more, not x direction. 1 degrees of freedom is v, vertical displacement. One more degrees of freedom is the rotation or angular rotation or theta. That is total degrees of freedom for each node of the beam element is 2. I may ask the total number of degrees of element, total number of DOF for beam element is dash. You have to write 2. 2 is answer. Maybe I may give 1, 2, 3, 4. The right answer is B. You have to type answer B. So in the similar way, I may ask total number of, with respect to force vector also, I may ask some questions. The order of the force vector is for the beam element is, so 1 cross 1, 2 cross 2, 3 cross 2, or I may put 4 cross 1. So 4 cross 1 is D. So order of the force vector for the beam element is 4 cross 1, because we have F1, F2, F3, F4. So those things, the similar type of question may comes. Even I may ask order of the displacement vector for the beam element is, so 1 cross 1, 2 cross 1, 3 cross 1, 4 cross 1, because there are 4 degrees of freedom, V1 theta 1, V2 theta 2. The order of this displacement vector for the beam is the 4 cross 1. That is corresponding answer is 4. Fourth in the D answer. So one is the order of the element matrix. In general, I am telling the order of the element matrix K matrix. I may ask what is the order of the stiffness matrix for the beam. So I may ask what is the order of the stiffness matrix for the bar element. What is the order of the stiffness matrix for the torsion element? What is the order for the stiffness matrix for the some other element? Because all those things fundamentals you are studying in the first module. You are doing derivations and doing some problems in the other model. As per the first module and second module is considered, you have to consider 1D element, you have to study about 2D element, you have to study about 3D element. So 1D element, your beam will comes under 1D element. Even bar is also comes under 1D element. Torsion is also comes under 1D element. All such types of questions will come. Not difficult, but try to understand. Better to note down with respect to element, degrees of freedom, the displacement order of the different vectors or matrices. So now this is one more example. There's the dams. The trusses I may ask. So degrees of total number of degrees of freedom for each node of the truss element in global coordinate. So in once you say in global coordinate, how many DOF are in global coordinate? Someone can answer no? How many degrees of freedom for the truss element in global coordinate? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? How many degrees of freedom for the truss element? You can answer no. In global coordinate is 1 along x direction, 1 along y direction. Total number of DOF. So total number of DOF. DOF in for truss element is 2. That is what you refer as Q1 and Q2. In the similar way, if you consider the same truss element local coordinate already you have derived. So truss element each node is having only one DOF in local coordinate, that is referred as Q1 dash and Q2 dash. Then I may ask, so what is the order of the stiffness matrix? The order of the stiffness matrix is 4 by 4. I may ask 1 by 1, 2 by 2, or 3 by 4, or 4 by 4. So right answer is 4 by 4. Then the different application of finite element analysis also I may give. So I may give 4. So which one is not the application of finite element method? So like the analytical techniques I may ask, or some microstructure analysis, the structural analysis, thermal analysis, or fluid dynamics, which is not a application of finite element analysis. Those things already you have studied. I already shared so much of information. Just I'm giving. These are the application. So when you come to even as per your syllabus is considered, first module is considered, you have to see the boundary condition for the different condition, different this one different element. So homogeneous and non-homogeneous boundary condition. As per if you read the syllabus, I have the syllabus copy, hard copy also. As per your syllabus, the boundary condition, homogeneous boundary condition, non-homogeneous boundary condition. So once you say homogeneous boundary condition, so displacement value is 0. So displacement value is 0. I may give the homogeneous boundary condition, displacement value is 1 or 0, 2 or 3 or 4. In such cases, the right answer is 0. That is correspondingly it may be 1. So one more is non-homogeneous condition that you are applying for the heat transfer analysis. Again, they are asked for a boundary condition, homogeneous, non-homogeneous for structural, heat transfer, and fluid flow problems. So boundary condition, whether it is a beam problems or truss problems or heat transfer problems, even flow problems, that's also included in the first module. So don't think that in the module 4 you are going for derivation of the different matrices and solving some problems, but basic concept of the heat transfer element you are studying in the module 1. Question may come. So what is the degrees of freedom for each node of the heat element? How many degrees of freedom? So each node of temperature element or heat element is only one DOF, because each node you have to find out only temperature, no other parameter. It is almost like a bar element. In the case of bar element, so the degrees of freedom for each node of the bar element is only 1. That is Q1. I may ask the number of degrees of freedom for bar element. Each node of the bar element is dash 1, 2, 3, 4. I may put. Your right answer is 1. In the similar way, in the case of heat transfer analysis, the total number of degrees of freedom for the whole element is 2, because each node is having 2 degrees of freedom. T1 and T1 is the degrees of freedom at node 1. T2 is degrees of freedom at node 2. So those are the degrees of freedom. It is required for required in the case of heat transfer boundary condition. Then vibration, I'm not covering for your first test, but it is one of the, just for your understanding. So finite element analysis can also use it for vibration analysis. Then those are the different axisymmetric problems. They are not it is not included for your tests. Axisymmetric problem means instead of analyzing the complete aircraft structure, because the aircraft structure is axisymmetry in the longitudinal direction, only half of the aircraft is discretized and analyzed. What are the results holds good for the half of the aircraft, it holds good for another half of the aircraft. Even aircraft wing also, it is subject to your bending load as well as torsion loading. So when you come to torsional element, again it comes under 1D element. It is a part of first module. So derivations and problems on torsional element is in the third module. But when you come to the basic understanding of the torsional element, so each node is having 1 degrees of freedom. So T1, not T1, theta 1 and theta 2. So theta 1 is angular rotation about node 1. Theta 2 refers to angular deformation at node 2. So that means each node is having 2 degrees of freedom. Those things we have to remember. So a similar type of question will be asked, but question will be simple. But at least I hope everyone will score well. But still, other than scoring good mark in the test, so you should know some of the fundamentals. It is not the fundamentals for your finite element analysis. These are the fundamentals for your basic mechanical engineering fundamentals. You are studying almost all basic mechanical engineering fundamentals. Without knowing the fundamental, qualifying some competitive examination will be very difficult. Even qualifying in the technical test, in the placement, during placement, etc., technical aptitude test, it is very difficult. As per my knowledge is considered, many students are appeared for the GATE examination. Their performance is not so good. Even you can ask your final year students also, those who are finished also, their performance in the GATE examination is not so good. So that's why fundamentals also required. So like a torsional equation, what is bending equation, similar type of equation, but test is considered. So torsional element, once you say torsional element, so node 1 is having 1 DOF, that is theta 1. So node 2 is having one more DOF, theta 2. So you have to note down these points for your exam test point of view. But I cannot remember those point of view. I cannot I cannot put all those things in a writing. You cannot circulate, because hardly you may get around 50 to 60. I can have to give 30 questions. Another 30 questions I have to keep it reserved. If in the case of emergency, I have to release another 30 if something happen in the system or some other network connectivity, etc. I cannot release those questions to you, because if you give those questions, it is nothing but you are giving question paper directly to the students itself. It will happen like this. If there are 200 questions, multiple choice question, I can release, but hardly I may get around 30 to 40 questions for your first and second module is considered. I cannot release those questions. So then the piping, we are discussing the piping. So piping, you are going for the axisymmetry. Tell me. Tell me, what's your doubt? Clarification. Someone is trying to ask some question. Is it Roshan?
Yes, sir. So send that questions also, question bank, like 200 question.
No, question. No, I cannot give the question bank, because what is the problem is, hardly we are getting around 30 to 40 questions in the objective type in the first, because FEM is subject is not meant for objective type. Because of these situations, so you are going for the objective type questions. So all information is available in the HALES textbook, basic information. So why I am telling all those things, what type of questions may appear. Already you studied those questions, you use it for deriving the equation, you use it for solving those problems. All information known to you, but you have to revise. That's why you note down what most of the time, all element, degrees of freedom for the each node, degrees of freedom for the total element, the boundary conditions, such type of question. Those questions are very simple. Hardly I may get around 30 to 40 questions. I cannot release those 30 to 40 questions. What question I have to release for your test? Huh? If it is like material science, I no. In the case of material science subject, like, so I may have around 120 objective type. Out of 120, I can release all 120. I can release, and out of 130, I can set question for the 30 questions. But hardly, it's from the last 2 or 3 days, I am trying level best to get around 30 good questions. You understood no our difficulties. So
Yes, sir.
questions will be, if there is a huge number of questions, I'll agree. But myself getting difficulty in framing 30 multiple choice question in the first and second module. So whenever I was getting some ideas, immediately I am entering. Still, I am not able to get around 15 questions. I have to make. But all the questions will be easy. Basic questions only. With respect to syllabus only, I am covering. With respect to syllabus, each and every words of the syllabus, what types of question may come for the test. So I am telling. So even tomorrow also, I am discussing. We are discussing also with respect to syllabus only. Today also, I may start because I have some PPT so that we can understand better if with respect to PPT. I explained. That's why I am putting the PPT. That's why it's a continuation of last class PPT. I hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
For the examination point of view, some students is requested. I have already given question bank for 2 or 3 module. In the similar way, I'll update for the another 2 or 3 module examination point of view. But test point of view, I have limited number of questions. Those limited number of questions I have to release for the test itself. I cannot release you. So okay, then in come to the heat transfer element. So again, degrees of freedom for each node of heat element is only one. Just you can note down the degrees of freedom for heat element. Just you write down degrees of freedom for each element of the heat element is 2, because node 1 already your nodes, you have the nodes only, it is diagram is written. So at node 1 the temperature is T1, at node 2 temperature is T2. So total degrees of freedom for heat transfer element is 2, because it is a part of your basic, the definition of the element, type of element is part of your syllabus. I have the syllabus like this. So boundary conditions, homogeneous and non-homogeneous for structural, heat transfer and fluid problems. So that's one part. Then you have to study about the 1D element. The heat transfer element is also comes under 1D element, because so it is having only, you are assuming you are solving most of the problems for only one-dimensional heat flow. Hence, it is referred as 1D element. So number of degrees of freedom of each node of heat transfer element is only one. That is nothing but temperature. So at node 1 temperature is T1. At node 2 temperature is T2. The total number of degrees of freedom for the heat transfer element is 2, because at node 1 T1, at node 2 T2, the total DOF is 2. Like that question may come. The fluid flow, I'll have small PPT. I'll show in the tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, I have not discussed because I'm hoping that fluid flow is removed from your syllabus. But first module still they are retained. So electrical application, don't worry about that part. So some like I may ask, the finite element is used for the biomechanics. Following are the application for of finite element analysis: the structural analysis, the fluid analysis, thermal analysis, or I may put one more, some like microstructural analysis. So answer D is correct, because so microstructural analysis FM is not used. Like that, so I may set the questions. So here also we are discussing about the nuclear structure. Some structures are modeled as a bar element. When you're saying bar elements are chosen in finite element analysis when loading is the axial, when loading is, I may ask, the bending, when loading is torsion, or none of the above, I may ask. But bar elements are chosen when the loading is only axial loading, either compression or tensile. That already you are familiar with that. Bar elements are used only when the loading is axial, either tensile or compression only. All similar simple questions I am asking. Don't worry about it. Even my 8th semester also they scored well. But you should have basic understanding. Already you already knows each and every details you know. But to revise, so I'll asking. So when you're saying beam element, so I may ask the question: beam elements are selected in finite element package when the loading is the axial loading, the loading is torsion, the loading is some transverse loading, or none of the above. You have to write the transverse loading. Beam elements are chosen for transverse loading. Bar element is chosen for axial loading. Torsion elements are chosen for torque loading. So such type of questions may ask. I may ask, the FEM analysis can be used for following. One is dynamic analysis, one more static analysis, one more microstructure analysis, one more some fluid analysis. It can be used for dynamic analysis also. So this is I may ask, in finite element analysis, we'll get solution of the finite element analysis, exact solution, approximate solution, no solution, like that I may ask. But in finite element analysis, you are getting approximate solution, not exact solution. I may ask, only complex problems are solved in finite element analysis, only simple problems are solved in for finite element analysis, only heat transfer problems are solved in finite element analysis, or none of the above. So like that you have to write that complex problems are solved in finite. Especially boundary condition, especially for penalty approach and elimination approach. Once again, I'll revise. So that point of time, I'll explain up the boundary condition. Finite element analysis, just other than introducing the syllabus, I am giving the so you are talking about the bar. The bar elements are chosen only when the loading is axial. Either it may be tensile or compression. Beam elements are chosen only when the loading is transverse. The truss elements are chosen. Again, loading is only axial. The loading is acting only at the nodal point. So, but these things will not come. The lateral loading comes under beams. The bending is again, beams are also subject to bending. So other than regular element, we have one more type of element, plate element. As per your syllabus, no need to study, but your general, most of automotive body, this outer portion of the body, or wings of the aircraft, outer layer of the wings of the aircraft, or fuselage, outer the layer of the fuselage of the aircraft are modeled either by plate element or shell element. We have more number of degrees of freedom. Shell element is having 6 degrees of freedom, but as per test is concerned, you will not ask any questions about plates and shell. For understanding, so plates and shells having more degrees of freedom. Shells, each node is having 3 displacement, linear displacement, x, y, z direction. It can rotate in x direction, y direction, as well as z direction. But in the case of beam also, it has rotary degrees of freedom. It can rotate in only one direction, that is nothing but a transverse direction or in plane of the beam. Then there are 2 types of problems. One is large deformation problem, one more is small deformation problems. So what you are doing in present finite element analysis, you are considering a very small deformation problems. The deformation is within the elastic limit. You are familiar with the elastic limit and plastic limit. You studied in different subject. So your finite element comes under linear finite element analysis. It comes within the elastic limit, not in the plastic region. There are non-linear finite element packages. Even your answer is also non-linear capability what you are using, but not to that higher level. So especially for if you want, so high accurate nonlinear finite element packages or module, then there is separate option. They'll give as a separate module as a nonlinear analysis. They'll charge extra. So you are studied about bearings and shafts in the case of your design. So there is those elements are of the contact problems. The bearing is directly in contact with journals or shaft, etc. So there is a separate type of element. So those elements are referred as the contact element. So there is a separate area in finite element analysis itself, the analysis of the contact element itself. So finite element analysis can be also used for vibration problem. There is a module 5 is mainly deals with vibration, but anyhow now question will be asked from the vibration problem for your test. The linear transient dynamics. There is a transient phenomena. I think you studied about the steady state process, even thermodynamics also. You are studying a steady state heat transfer. In the similar way, there is a one more state. There is a transient state. The initial stage when you're heating some heating the water in the boiler, the temperature is increases from room temperature to 100 degrees Celsius. So once it starts the boiling, the temperature remains same or steady, then it is a steady state process. Even dynamic analysis also, there is a transient as well as dynamic status. So that anyhow it is not coming for your test, but still you have to know there is a separate module. The module 5, 50% of the module 5 is mainly deals with dynamic analysis. Now they are introduced some more topic also. And nonlinear dynamic analysis, again it is more complex. So then material is nonlinear, the deformation is also nonlinear. The stability analysis you might have studied in your engineering mechanics, the columns, stability of the columns, Euler's equation, Euler's buckling equation, etc. So buckling is one more deflection phenomena. Imagine you have one foot scale. If you press from the top as well as bottom, initially no deformation, suddenly it will bends. There is a transverse deflection. So that type of phenomena is referred as a buckling phenomena. If the building columns are long, very long, that would be more than 20 feet, 40 feet. In such cases, the building column may not fail by compression loading. It may fail by buckling. So if the length of the structure is very, very long, then loading is axial. In such cases, there is one more phenomena that is after the buckling phenomena. Just you can feel the buckling phenomena. Take 1 meter scale. You press from the top as well as bottom. So initially there is no deformation. Suddenly deformation. There is a buckling or bending. That is referred as the buckling phenomena. The heat transfer. So when you come to your first test, heat transfer. So heat transfer. We have a temperature boundary condition. Again, boundary condition is considered. There are two types of boundary condition in heat transfer. One is specified temperature boundary condition, and one more is the specified heat flux boundary condition. Again, boundary condition is part of your syllabus. I have the syllabus copy. Once again, I read the boundary condition, homogeneous and non-homogeneous for structural and heat transfer. That already notes is circulated. Generally, there are two boundary conditions. One is specified temperature boundary condition where the temperature is specified, like T1 is equal to T0. And one more boundary condition is the specified heat flux boundary condition. So where your heat flux is specified or heat flux is known, like if it is an insulated surface, the heat flux, there is no heat flow, hence your Q is equal to 0. Q is equal to 0. That is it. Only two types of boundary condition. One is heat flux boundary condition, and one more is the specified temperature boundary condition. I may ask the heat transfer, the following type of boundary condition, it is not a boundary condition. One I'll write heat flux boundary condition. The second, in heat transfer, following are the boundary conditions: heat flux boundary condition, the specified temperature boundary condition, I'll say thermal conductivity boundary condition, or D, both A and B. Then the right answer is both A and B, because heat transfer involves specified temperature boundary condition as well as it involves the specified heat flux boundary conditions. Like that, question will be asked related to boundary condition. The fluid dynamics. So in fluid flow, so there is a flow. Hello, do you have any doubt? Someone is trying to ask. So in the case of bar element, The degrees of freedom, deformation is your degrees of freedom. At node 1, deformation is Q1, or let it be 1 mm. At node 2, the deformation is 2 mm. When you come to heat transfer element, at node 1, temperature is T1. At node 2, temperature is T2. And when you come to beam, the both rotation as well as other element is also available in the case of beam, etc. But when you come to fluid flow problems, already you are studying fluid. You studied fluid mechanics. The flow variable is flow velocity. So each node of the fluid element having only one DOF, that is V1, not capital letter V1. It is referred as lowercase letter V1. You studied the turbo machines. In the turbo machine also, what is the flow velocity at the entry point? What is the flow velocity at the exit point? So flow velocity is the degrees of freedom in the case of the fluid flow. That part you have to remember. So better to note down these questions or some keywords you write down so that it will be helpful for preparing for the exam. So if you know all fundamentals without preparation also you can write, but still, so many of you are expecting more good marks, good score also. So better to note down the points. Today I'll finish this presentation. Tomorrow I'll go according to your first module and second module. So each and every topic I'll discuss in the first module as well as second module, and that is I'm not discussing only for the test point of view. It is also knowing the fundamentals of your finite element analysis. That's one part. So after when you're going for some interview, whatever subject you studied, if you say as I studied a finite element analysis, you may expect some question. If you are going for any, whether you are going for the design area, also finite element analysis is required. If you are doing some jobs on thermal area, also finite element analysis is required. If you're going for the production side, also it is finite element analysis required. Now all category of MTech master degree, irrespective, even civil also, electrical also, mechanical, there may be 15 to 20 varieties, 20 types of specialized in MTech courses. All MTech courses, they have compulsory subject, the finite element analysis, they have to study for all mechanical specialization. It is the basic tool used for analysis. That's why I'm explaining more and more. I expect more people will go and join analysis side. So pay package is very high, good compared to other area, because only few can enter into finite element analysis area. They require a lot of other fundamentals also. So there are different types of loading. I think everything is okay, visible. Yes or no? Someone can respond. PPT is visible. Kanishk or Roshan?
Yes, sir.
Someone can. Yes, no? Huh?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the types of loading. So what type of question I may ask in the like bar? Bar is subject. Bar element is chosen when the loading is axial, bending, torsion, or like that I may ask. But bar elements are chosen when the material is subject to either tensile load or compression load. In general, it is subject to axial loading. When you come to torsional element, already you are discussed, because all of it comes under 1D element. In the second module, we have like I have a syllabus. The types of element, 1D element, 2D element, and 3D element. So your torsion element will comes under 1D element. So 1D element already torsion. So torsional element is chosen in finite element analysis when member is subject to torsion loading. I may ask to confuse you. So it is chosen for bending load, shear load, compression load, torsion load. Then your right answer is the D, that is torsion loading. Like that, I may ask some question. There is a type of concentrated load, surface load, centrifugal load, and gravitational load. These concentrated loads are nothing but your point loads. You have to remember. So concentrated loads are nothing but a point load. And surface loads, there is a friction between road as well as the tire of the vehicles. There is a contact area. Imagine it is not a line contact, it is a surface area. So surface area. So then such type of loading is referred as a surface loading. So unit of the surface loading is Newton per mm square. Newton per mm square. The surface load unit is Newton per mm square because the load acting, how much amount of load is acting per unit area, that is nothing but this. Concentrated load, so only Newton. There is a one more type of load, that is what is the body load, like a self weight. The self weight is expressed in terms of Newton per millimeter cube. So what is the weight of the material per meter cube or per centimeter cube or per millimeter cube? That is comes under the body load. Even centrifugal load is also comes under the body load as per your FEM is considered. The gravity, each and every particle of the, imagine your turbine blade is rotating with high speed. Let it be around RPM is around 10, especially in the case of steam turbine, the RPM is around 15,000 RPM. 15,000 RPM. Each and every particle of the turbine blade is subject to the centrifugal load. Then imagine we have the building structure. Each and every particle of the building, each and every piece of the building is subject to gravitation load. Each and every small volume of the building, I'm talking about the solid part, so is subject to gravitation loading. Hence, those will come under the body loading. So, in the case of body loading, so each and every particle and every portion or every piece of material is subject to the loading. Such type of loading is referred as body loading. So initial stresses, anyhow, you are studying in design of nuts and bolts, and velocity is thermal body. So there is a separate module you are studying in. Just you have started, you have finished around 25% of heat transfer module. So that is comes under thermal body. Contact loading, there is a separate area in the finite element analysis itself, like analysis of the bearings, analysis of the shaft and bearing together. So in such cases, contact elements are required. The constraints are nothing but a boundary conditions. The sliding surfaces, or it may be elastic foundation or multi-point constraint. Elastic foundation means, so it may be rightly, it can move up and down. So like your lift, if you see the bottom, the foundation below the ground, there is a lift pit is there. Bottom they put some 5 to 6 springs. Those whenever unexpectedly, if lift fails, means it will go and hit. So because there is a small deformation, elastic deformation, those things are considered in the case of non-zero boundary condition that already you have discussed in penalty approach. Already you have discussed elastic foundation can be analyzed by non-zero boundary condition. The approach is totally different. Once again, I'll refresh those things in the after finishing module 1 as well as module 2 according to your syllabus. Then material. So I may ask questions. If the material is isotropic, so Ex is equal to Ey, Ey is equal to Ez, Ez is equal to E, or the properties are totally different in all directions. Like that, such a question may be asked. When you say isotropic material, Young's modulus is constant in all directions. Ex is equal to Ey, Ey is equal to Ez, Ez is equal to E. So when you come to your heat transfer analysis, when it comes to isotropic material, your thermal conductivity is constant. You are not in when you're going for heat transfer analysis, most of the time thermal conductivity writing as a K only, because there is no Kx, Ky as well as Kz. Kz. So then it is referred as isotropic material. Or anisotropic, your Kx is the thermal conductivity along X direction is different, Y direction is different, and Z direction is different. I think I'll finish this within 1 or 2 minutes. So these are the one more example for heat transfer analysis of materials isotropic analysis. I'll see the brief history of LN, because tomorrow I'll not put this. The first time the finite element method was coined by one engineer, that is referred as Claw, C-L-O-U-G-H. His name is Claw. It is coined in 1960. The first paper related to FEM finding is presented, or they have taken, there are 2 to 4 engineers or mathematicians like Turner, Claw, Martin, and Top. Those are the 4 people. They conceptualized the complete finite element analysis. They envisaged, or they thought that, so this is the analysis technique can be used for analysis of the aircraft structure or building structure, etc. They presented on paper. That is the first development in the finite element analysis. That is 1956. There is the first paper presented by those 4 engineers, and there may be some mathematician also. But the word finite element analysis coined by Claw in 1960. So mainly it is finite element analysis used for stress analysis, flood flows, heat transfer analysis, and further it was developed by the FEM. Foundation for further development of FEM is developed by Argyris in 1955. Those things just for your information. So that will finish us the overall the finite element analysis. Tomorrow and tomorrow I'll explain the complete module 1 and module 2. I'll put the syllabus itself. I'll say what type of questions will appear for each module, each topic. The one is for it will helpful for understanding, for it will test. There's one part. Second part is you will understand more about fundamentals of the finite element analysis, so that it will be helpful for studying other modules also. So I can go a little bit fast when you come to your vibration analysis or heat transfer analysis. Once you know the different types of element, it will helpful for other understanding other modules, not only keeping eye on your test. I'm not revising your first and second module, by keeping the examination point of view also, keeping in the mind the later modules also. I'll explain your module 1 and module 2 once again tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll start with module 1 as per your syllabus. I'll put the syllabus as it is. I'll brief each and every point. If you attend, if you listen carefully, that is sufficient to write your first test. Some point you can note down. I'll go to words used in your syllabus only, word by word. I'm not changing the syllabus tomorrow for tomorrow's presentation. So, okay, if you have any doubt about tomorrow, the test, etc. So tomorrow also you can ask some more if you have any clarification, doubts, anything. At present, one thing, there are 30 questions, and each question is having 4 answers. You have to answer any, or no, you have to choose right answer. That is all. The timings I'll announce shortly. So between 30 minutes to 1 hour, it may be 45 minutes or 30 minutes. I'll decide and I'll inform you. Don't worry. Within Thursday, I'll inform you about timings for the test. Okay, thank you. We will meet tomorrow. I think you can leave the session.